Now, Australia's bushfires have burnt through 8 billion hectares of land since September. Remarkably, smoke can now be seen 12,000 kilometres away in Argentina and also in Chile. Have a look at this image from Santiago, which has come in the last few hours, with smoke seen across the city. Also, the World Wildlife Foundation is saying up to 1 billion animals may have been killed directly or indirectly by the fires. We also know almost 2,000 homes have been destroyed and at least 24 people have died. Among them are 3 volunteer firefighters. Here's an image from the funeral of Andrew O'Dwyer, who was killed in December, and this is his little daughter being given her father's helmet and service medal at the ceremony. And thousands of firefighters are involved in trying to contain this vast crisis. And while milder weather is helping their efforts at the moment, unfortunately, more hot, dry conditions will return soon. And still, New South Wales and the southeast of Australia is the worst affected. Let's begin in the southeast of the state. The BBC's Jonathan Head is there.
Well, I'm now in the town of Wingello. The fire service here has been unbelievably busy over the weekend trying to save this town. The fire that struck this place roared in from back there. The firefighters here put up an epic battle, one they describe in almost apocalyptic terms, as this fire roared through with a massive cloud of ash, the sky completely red. And the firefighters here have described battling on all fronts to try to save the town. It's a town of around 400 people. They thought they would lose the entire town. The fire came up here. It leapt over the road, and you can see the ground over there is completely scorched, going towards the railway line. And that's where the firefighters say they stopped it. They stopped it from going further over and getting more homes. People have come back to this town now. The weather's cooler. There are fires some distance away. It's still a bit smoky, but they've been able to come back, look at their homes, and they describe a feeling almost of elation that nobody was hurt, nobody was killed, and that they didn't lose more homes. This is one of so many communities in Australia now that are reeling from these fires and assessing the damage that they've suffered. Worrying, of course, too, that the hot season has only just started and they may get more fiery weather to come.
Well, not far from where Jonathan recorded that is another rural community called Wandandian, also in New South Wales. The BBC's Lucy Hockings is there.
Temperatures have been cooler here. A little bit of rain has fallen across the state and Victoria, which has really taken the pressure off people. But it does feel like we're all in a state of limbo, particularly the residents who live here, because the intense heat and the wind is set to return here in the coming days. And there is the constant smoke and air pollution. It's been really bad across the state, particularly in the capital of Australia, Canberra, where they gave out free masks to people today to try and cope with the pollution, and in Melbourne as well.
Well, this is a human disaster. It's an environmental disaster as well. Here we have the World Wildlife Foundation estimating that more than 1 billion animals may have been killed directly or indirectly by these fires. And Lucy has been speaking with some of those involved in rescuing animals.
In here we have a baby mountain brushtail possum. So he's had to be evacuated as well with us. He'll be released into the wild. These guys are in care for a very long time. We'll have him for close to a year. Baby kangaroos and wombats are in care for about 2 years, so it's a long time commitment. It's going to take decades and decades for the bush to regenerate properly. You know, the impacts of fire, beyond just what we see with the green tree leaves and all that sort of stuff. There's impacts to the soil, there's impacts to the insects and all that sort of stuff. You just, year after year, see less and less frogs. You see less and less, you know, of those little species that can't handle big changes. So, yeah, it's, you know, it's really scary.
Unfortunately, this crisis isn't going anywhere in the near future. Here's the latest assessment from the Bushfire Recovery Agency.
We have unaccounted for people across Australia. We have over 1,800 homes have been destroyed, and that's before we even begin to count the cost of outhouses, of sheds, of public places, of schools. The heartbeat of some of these communities. It's before we even begin to count the cost to business, to those people who may not have lost their homes, but they don't have a place to turn up for work today. They're not sure how their next paycheck is going to arrive. The cost of this is unprecedented. I'm under no illusions about the size of the challenge that is ahead of us.
Now, many different images have been used to show the scale of these fires, but we need to be careful about what we think we're looking at. You may have seen this image. It's been very, very widely shared, with a lot of people claiming it's a satellite image. It's definitely not. It's a visualization that's based on NASA data from across the last month. So where you see different parts of the country glowing, that represents any area that's been affected by fires since December.